Today's topic is a really fascinating one because it touches every level of our being. Now, we're all in this beautiful world to experience as much as we can from it. And to achieve this, we have been blessed with 5 core senses which we can perceive and engage with the material world. These are our 5 core senses, and I'm sure we all know our 5 senses intimately, but let us briefly encapsulate them. Firstly, we have all been endowed with the sense of sight, which helps us see and perceive the material world in a myriad of possible ways. Sense of sight. We all live by the ethos, seeing is believing. Hence, if we can't see something, we believe it doesn't exist. And if we do see something, our sense of sight gives us our own perception of what we are looking at. And interestingly enough, while each one of us has the same basic sense of sight, what we perceive from it can be very different. For example, how we decode objects, colors, shapes, sizes, distances, horizons, and more. We all decode these things differently. So our sense of sight shapes what we perceive as our own unique individual reality. Of course, artificial intelligence, has now provided us with a very big challenge to our concept of seeing is believing. It is no longer true anymore, because AI can create perfect perceptions of what may be completely untrue. Next, we have the sense of touch, which helps provide further definition to what we see. For example, the eyes show us an object, but when we touch it, we can feel it and we can get a deeper sense of it. Our sense of touch provides wider dimensions to our awareness. And also, our sense of touch protects us. For example, without the sense of touch, we would not know how to protect ourselves from extreme heat. So this sense plays a key role in our well-being, and it is a sense that we all rely upon every moment. The third sense is the sense of sound or hearing. And this one is self-explanatory. We all know what sense of hearing is. We all perceive sounds differently in our own unique ways. Sounds provide us with the key capacity of communication, as well as the capacity to interpret what we see and touch through sounds that may be associated with them. Our sense of hearing also plays a big part in influencing how we experience harmony. For example, music inspires us and touches us at deeper levels than sight or touch can. Music projects harmony to each one of us, and our sense of hearing helps us internalize this harmony, a truly beautiful gift from our Creator. The fourth sense is our sense of taste. Once again, it needs no explanation. This sense enables us to savor foods, and it also protects us from consuming foods and fluids that may be harmful. In addition, our sense of taste adds broader dimensions to our experiences, particularly where food and drink are concerned. And then finally, we have the fifth sense, which is our sense of smell, often referred to as the olfactory sense. Now, once again, we all know our sense of smell and the role that it plays in our life experiences. Like our other senses, this sense also protects us from inhaling toxic gases, and it leads us away from spaces that may be harmful. Our sense of smell also plays a big part in our experience of foods and drinks. The aromas and tastes of our food obviously go hand in hand. They go together. Therefore, my dear friends, our 5 senses are responsible for giving us a holistic and rounded experience of the material world. We are all highly dependent on our 5 senses because collectively They bring 5 dimensions or levels to each one of our experiences. They come together like Lego pieces, one on top of the other. For example, sight alone brings only 1 dimension to an experience. You simply see it. Sight plus touch gives 2 dimensions to the same experience. Sight plus touch plus sound presents 3 levels of experience. Sight plus touch plus sound plus smell gives us a 4-dimensional experience. And finally, sight plus touch plus sound plus smell plus taste gives us a 5-dimensional experience. And for us humans in the material plane, we consider this to be a wholesome experience. Yet when I look at these 5 senses, or for 5 levels of an experience based on our senses, it suggests to me that we may be very primitive creatures. We should be able to experience a great deal more than just 5 aspects or dimensions, surely. And when I add emotions to the mix, it looks a bit better, but still primitive. And my dear friends, we know we are not a primitive creation. I would suggest that there's a lot more to each one of us than what meets the eye. We have a lot more to us than what our 5-level experiences show us. So this brings us to the elusive 6th sense, which is more developed in some people and less developed in others. Whilst our 5 senses are more tangible in nature, our 6th sense tends to be intangible. This sense brings us intuitions. It also is present in us in the form of an inner voice that is very subtle indeed. Our sense of intuition and our inner voice are key guiding tools that we have been all blessed with, but they need to be consciously acknowledged and cultivated to derive maximum benefit from them. And this requires focus and conscious awareness. Those of us who are consumed by material distractions have a poorer access to the 6th sense. Those of us who live consciously and listen to our soft inner voice end up finding incredible guidance, direction, protection, and fulfillment from our 6th sense. So my dear friends, we all have the base case, the 5 primitive senses. Our emotions are a great addition, but they too cut both ways. They can raise or lower the quality of our experiences. So thankfully, and that depends on our level of emotional intelligence, but thankfully we have our 6th sense leads us to the next level of refinement and the level and quality of our experiences. So past emotions, the 6th sense brings a great deal of value. Hence, you can see that as more senses come together, our experience becomes more and more holistic. Similar to a Lego structure that gets sharper definition as more and more pieces come together with increasing perfection. Since we all know a bit about our 6th sense, I won't expand on it any further. However, there's a very good video on our YouTube channel called The Power of the Inner Voice, which I do recommend you revisit. It is quite eye-opening actually, and it's a really good webinar. So with senses 1 to 6, my dear friends, we can achieve life experiences at as complete a level as our senses will permit. However, for an intricate creation like us that is on a search for the extraordinary in the ordinary, in this highly complex world, 6 senses are not sufficient to adequately appreciate life and its subtle revelations. And this brings us to the ever-amazing 7th sense. What is it? Let us explore this special gift that we all embody. And in a few moments, I will share with you a practical technique through which you can engage with and experience your own 7th sense. It's a very beautiful and empowering technique. But before that, let us try to understand the seventh sense a bit better first. So let us start by revisiting the alignment technique, which we all learned about in the master classes on healing and alignment. We have an excellent set of videos on this masterclass in our YouTube channel, which I do recommend reviewing. It is very inspiring. Just to refresh your memories, let us take a quick look at the energetic makeup of our body and its 6 focal points. So, our body is made up of 6 key energetic focal points, as you will remember. And the first focal point is in the center of our forehead. So this field that starts or that connects from the center of our forehead with our life energy is called the light field. And all our focal points are in the shape of a conical pyramid. So the first focal point is the center of our forehead. The next one goes from the center of the forehead to the base of our chin. And that triangle, that area, is our sensory field, which embodies all our 5 senses plus 1 sixth sense. 7th sense is not there. Then, from the base of our chin to the hollow in our neck, that covers the field of air. So everything we respire, we take in oxygen, we give off carbon dioxide, entire movement of gases in our body come from that third field, the field of air. Then is the 4th field. So that is the field of flow. And as you can see, from the base of the neck to the center of the solar plexus, that is the field of flow which governs our heart and all the flow of fluids in our body. Next, from the field of flow, we then go down to the hollow at the base of our pubic area, which is the cleansing field. So this includes our intestines, our liver, our kidney, all the organs through which we are cleansed. And then finally, from there to the point between our 2 legs, when we're standing, for example, is the last focal point, which is the earth. And it's how our body is connected to the earth through the earth field. Now, I'm not going to go through all of them today, but I do recommend that you go and revisit these videos. So the seventh sense is centered at the base of the field of flow. So the 7th sense is centered in the center of your chest, in your solar plexus. That's important to remember. And what does this sense reveal to us? The answer is vibrations. And these vibrations are a key part of our existence, whether we realize it or not. Our thoughts all carry very specific vibrations. The actual vibrations associated with our thoughts are very complex and beyond the comprehension of our human mind. So therefore, I've tried to simplify it by a couple of illustrations. So let me share another diagram with you. This diagram shows you waves. Now, our thought vibrations, you have to think of them as waves in very simple terms. So we are going from chaos to stillness, from negative to positive. And we can see that as our negative thoughts tend to have much bigger waves of a low frequency. Then, as we go towards the positive, the waves become tighter and tighter, and the frequency keeps going higher and higher until the waves are almost tied together, and this is the highest frequency. And then I share one more diagram with you. So this diagram shows you larger waves. And this is dealing with negative waves. So cruelty, for example, has the largest bandwidth. It's a very slow, sluggish wave. As you get to hatred, too, again, very large waves. Fear, envy. So you have to think of thoughts as vibrations like these waves. And I'm just giving you a very simple illustration. Now, negative thoughts, as we said, produce large waves, and as we go to the positive, the frequency goes higher and higher. So negative thoughts have a very low energy. Positive thoughts have a very high energy. Now, as I mentioned in other previous webinars, the famous Japanese scientist Masaru Emoto, he did an experiment where he showed how water captures these vibrations. So he took water samples in petri dishes and he put a message. He wrote a thought. One he wrote love, another he wrote harmony, one he wrote I hate you, one was I will kill you. And he put these with water, and then he lowered the temperature to about minus 12 degrees. I believe it's minus 12 or minus 20, I can't remember correctly. But the water becomes ice. And then he photographs the crystals that form in the ice. And where you have positive thoughts, it produces perfect crystals. Let me show you an example. You can see this beautiful positive crystal. That water, that crystal represents, I believe, love. So love has a very high frequency vibration. It has so much energy that it is able to form the crystal in the ice in a perfect shape. Remember, positive thoughts have a much higher energy than negative thoughts, okay? So that is a crystal showing love. Next, let us look at this crystal showing absolute chaos, and I believe this one is I hate you. So the water has practically no form. It's just chaotic. It's ugly. Why is that? If you remember the waves I showed you, those waves have very low energy. They're just big amplitude waves. They cannot possibly form a crystal. They cannot hold a crystal together. So the water shows what negative thought does. Now, as I mentioned before, 80% of our bodies are made up of water. And so when we think, and the vibrations we are surrounded by directly impact our health, our body, our well-being. And so this is what I wanted to share with you. Now, basically, the reason I've done that is that the point is for us all to recognize that our thoughts carry vibrations that can be sensed through our seven senses. Okay, that's the core message. Now, most of us use our seventh sense unknowingly. We draw upon this sense without really being intellectually aware of it, nor recognizing the opportunities it presents to us. Now, I've covered thoughts and their vibrations in detail in the video entitled The Seven Worlds, World of Formation, which you can all view on the YouTube channel. It's part of a fascinating webinar series on the seven worlds. I believe we had that series in 2021, so it's coming to about 4 years. But do look up the video on the world of formation and you'll see various pictures, diagrams, and a much more detailed explanation on the vibrations that thoughts create and what they do. So, my dear friends, each one of us knows our thoughts, but we have to now consider their vibrations more consciously. How can we sense or know these vibrations and what they are telling us? In addition, everyone around us also produces thoughts each moment, and the vibrations of their thoughts also resonate with our seventh sense. How can we decode these vibrations and navigate our lives based on what we sense or read? Let us start by understanding how we physically sense general vibration. We do it through our sense of touch. When we place our hand on something vibrating, our sense of touch gives us the physical sensation. It reads the physical energy of the vibration. But this vibration is very basic, nothing comparable to the vibration of our thoughts. Now, how can we sense these very complex energies of our thoughts? You see, the reason we have all been blessed with the seventh sense. to help us comprehend the vibrations of our thoughts and emotions. As I mentioned earlier, the seventh sense is located at the center of our chest, from where we can sense the energy of thoughts and emotions, our own thoughts and emotions, as well as the thoughts and emotions of others. So, center of the chest. And the seventh sense is in fact the vibration sense. We can call it the vibe sense, nice and easy to remember. This sense is centered in our solar plexus area. In other words, center of the chest. Now let us get to know this area a little better. Let's practice a very simple technique. Place your index finger on the center of your chest. Okay? Place your index finger, this one, on the center of your chest and press till you begin to feel a bit of pain or discomfort. Okay? Now ease the pressure slowly till there is no pain. Okay? And let's do this one more time. Press, feel discomfort, ease until you can just feel your finger connected with your solar plexus, but there's no pain or discomfort. Okay? So that's step one. Now, what your finger is pressing against is the focal point of your seventh sense. Now take a deep breath in. With your finger still there, take a deep breath in and breathe out, slowly and fully. Let us practice this breathing. Breathe in, breathe out, nice and slow. Breathe in, breathe out. Remember, it must be slow, no rush. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Now do this on your own for a few moments till you find your rhythm, your breathing rhythm. Okay, so your finger is gently pressing against your solar plexus and you've developed a breathing rhythm. Now, stop thinking about your breathing and let it flow naturally. Now, whilst breathing this way, rotate your finger slowly clockwise around your solar plexus. Draw a circle around your solar plexus with your finger, nice and slow. And just be relaxed as you do it. And keep rotating your finger slowly and gently as you breathe freely with the rhythm you have found. Do this for a few moments. Now close your eyes as you keep rotating your finger and relax yourself. Focus all your attention on the circle your finger is drawing. Focus all your attention on the circle your finger is drawing. And as you do this, you repeat in your mind the word peace, peace, peace. Keep repeating this word as you draw your circle slowly around your seventh sense, breathing freely, peace. Take your time and flow with the experience. You may stop repeating the word peace, but keep feeling the experience that comes from the circle. It is beautiful, and there is a deep sense of happiness that you may feel coming forth. The circle you are drawing in the center of your chest is the location of your seventh sense. The foundation of the seventh sense is your heart that is beating constantly. Your heartbeats are producing a constant, gentle vibration in the form of pulses. Each time your heart contracts and expands, it produces a pulse. These are your very own unique life pulses. This is the vibration of your very own life force. Now let us feel it. So stop rotating your finger and let it press gently against the center of your solar plexus, the center of your chest. Feel it there, pressing gently in the center of your chest. Now focus on your heartbeat that pulses in the center of your chest, where your finger is. You don't need to hear your heartbeat. You just need to know it is there, beating against your finger. Just flow with it. Flow with your own life pulse. Take your time. Focus on your heartbeat that's beating against your finger and flow with its pulse. You may open your eyes. So, my dear friends, you have just consciously engaged for the first time with your seventh sense at a physical and mental plane. First time. Now, take a moment and disengage from everything else and just reflect on how that felt. And you may close your eyes if you prefer, but just reflect on what you felt. Okay? Each one of us will have felt something different. From zero feeling, like just being in plain presence, to sensing some deeper emotions of happiness, or vibrance, or simple peace. or maybe an entirely new feeling that you may have never encountered. It is difficult to describe this experience, but the important message here is, in this short exercise, and I kept it quite brief, but you can practice it on your own longer once you have the video. But in this short exercise, the key message is be aware of your seventh sense, recognize its location, and feel some of the early stage experiences that you are able to start gleaning from it. We have just made a start. With practice, your experiences will grow deeper, and they will become a conscious part of your being. They will embed themselves in your thought process, bringing you profound wisdom like never before. So, my dear friends, when you think about it, there is so much about the seventh sense that we can discover. Let us explore some brief examples. Firstly, our heartbeat responds to external vibrations as well, like music. We were connecting with its internal vibration of life force, but it also responds to external vibrations like music. Music is based on lots of harmonious vibrations that come to us, and our seventh sense resonates with those vibrations. That's why sometimes when you listen to a beautiful orchestra and all the instruments are in harmony, it invokes harmony in you, but it invokes it here in your middle of your chest through the seventh sense. So if you want to experience it, put on your favorite music and then try focusing on your solar plexus area whilst listening to your favorite music. Just focus your thoughts there. And you will find new experiences emerging from the seventh sense in response to the music. Discover it, feel it, and know it. So take some time, put your favorite piece of music, go to the focus of your solar plexus area, and then let the reaction that you get to that music from your seventh sense, feel it, discover it, and know it. Okay? Last week we attended a Sufi ceremony called the Sema ceremony. And they play this beautiful music where the dervishes rotate to the rhythm. And one of the key instruments in the Sema ceremony is a very long flute. It takes a lot of skill and practice to play. But when I was listening to that flute, I focused on my solar plexus. And the next thing I knew, I could feel myself in a state of trance because I was connecting with the harmony of that music. And this is why in the Sufi tradition that flute is so important, because people listen to that music and go into that very beautiful, peaceful state. But the focus comes from the seventh sense. So that's one part. Secondly, when you pray, focus your attention on the solar plexus area, and you will feel that serene vibration of your prayers. So you sit and pray. You don't have to place your finger there if you'd like to just initially get started, sure, but then just focus on the area and recite your prayer, and you will start feeling this serene vibration of your prayer, because that's a very beautiful thought. It has a vibration, but now you can sense it. And it expresses itself through waves of happiness and other experiences, some of which you cannot describe in words. So the seventh sense, in this regard, also has a very sacred dimension. Many scriptures talk about God being seated in the heart of human beings. It is not the physical organ they are referring to, the scriptures. It is the seventh sense. And when we practically engaged with the seventh sense for a few moments just now, we encountered our life pulse. In small ways, in large ways, we encountered our life pulse, which comes from our heart. And many of us may have begun to experience it. Many of us may have just caught a slight glimpse, but we can build on it. And this life pulse or life force is from our Creator. Hence, the words of the scriptures that say, I am seated in the heart of all beings. It means exactly that. The life force that is centered in, or that is sensed, whose vibrations are sensed in your seventh sense. So we're talking about the seventh sense there with the scripture. It also has, as I said, a deep spiritual dimension. We experience a bit of the physical and mental dimension in the practical technique. So when we pray and we focus in this area, we also sometimes can begin to hear our prayer from the heart. It's coming from the heart, from the seventh sense. Often when I sit in preparation for meditation at 4 a.m., I don't have a thought in my mind. I just say, let me hear what my soul is invoking. And I just hear a prayer. I hear beautiful, sacred words coming. And it's just silently listening. And that helps me prepare for meditation because I'm engaging with my seventh sense. And I'm inviting it to lead the development of my focus, to lead my prayer. So my mind is not telling me what to recite. It's coming from there. As we develop this sense, as we will work on it some more in other webinars, we will be able to reach that stage where we can actually hear our invocation and our minds are not interfering. You cannot guide what is being said. You can just listen. Then third, when it comes to the seventh sense, we can also experience vibrations of love from the seventh sense. Ever wonder why humanity has represented love with the symbol of a heart since time immemorial? Because the vibrations of love that we experience come from the seventh sense, from the heart area. So if you close your eyes and you think of someone you dearly love, while focusing your attention on the seventh sense, in the center of your chest, you will feel the powerful, serene vibrations of your love. And these vibrations actually flow from you to the one you are thinking of in that moment. Try it, practice it, feel it, and know it. Do make a point of beginning to feel your own love. And you may realize just how precious love is, even at an energetic level. So I invite you to practice. Next, one experience we have all felt is fear. And we feel its jolts in the form of a particular type of pain or shock in the center of our chest. This feeling is coming from the seventh sense. And we have all experienced it. Panic comes from the chest. And fear is extreme and therefore easy to recognize and read. But you will find that whenever you are in a negative space or surrounded by negativity, your seventh sense will make you feel it and lead you away from it as you develop it. So listen to this sense very carefully. It never lies. If you're in the presence of people and you suddenly start to feel that discomfort here in your chest, it's a warning. You're getting vibrations that are of a negative nature, even if the people you may be with may have a very peaceful, beautiful facade. But your seventh sense never lies. So follow it, listen to it, follow its advice. And finally, there's a very clear link between the mind, thought vibrations, and the seventh sense. They're all interconnected. Therefore, we can use our seventh sense to build a very sharp focus on whatever we do. Now, how, you may ask? You can sit back, direct your full attention to the solar plexus area, and then plant your thought there. Whatever you're thinking of, plant that thought in your seventh sense. you will begin to sense its vibrations, whatever that thought is. And while you're doing that, you will zone out of other chaotic vibrations that are currently dominating your mind and your consciousness. Vibrations that you are completely unaware of, but they are there and driving your thoughts and emotions every moment. You will zone out of them. These are vibrations shaping your consciousness. As we've discussed in many recent webinars, we live today amidst a very negative mass consciousness, surrounded by fear and the worst aspects of humanity: conflict, greed, hatred, manipulation, misinformation. The list is endless. Our mass consciousness is shaped by this negativity. And all these negative vibrations are sitting deep in our consciousness and driving us subconsciously. So working with the seventh sense, we can zone out of these external vibrations and focus on our own positive thoughts and their vibrations and sense them and feel them. And then let them find their way in our mind and in our consciousness so that our thoughts are governed by them at that energy level. This is how we can change our own internal environment, our relationships, our external environment, and the world at large. So I hope you found the concept of the seventh sense empowering, and please do practice the technique we have learned today regularly. And also start consciously engaging your seventh sense. Listen to it, and it will speak to you louder each day. So with that, I'd like to conclude, but also let you know that we have a total of 10 senses. And in future webinars, we will explore our 8th, 9th, and 10th sense after we have worked with the 7th sense to some more greater depth. And I think we will do it practically as well. So with that, I'd like to thank you all for being here, for bringing your positive energy, your light to today's webinar. And I pray that you may all be blessed and that the light of our Creator may be with you to help you, guide you, protect you, and love you always. Stay happy, stay blessed, and keep smiling from the soul.